I wondered if you thought very much like the stoned ape theory of Terence McKenna, if the ancient philosophies were ultimately formed out of people taking psychedelics and having these experiences and then, communicating about them or writing about them.
Yeah, I mean, the experience is so profound that it's the only thing that I can think of that's powerful enough to catalyze language, to catalyze evolution, or at least to help. Because, of course, they say that the energy of the brain and body that went into like breaking down raw food was a big part of why we weren't able to evolve as quickly as we did when we discovered fire and began to cook our food. Therefore, more energy was able to be put to the brain for uses like, problem solving and, language creation and things like that. But it does seem like this had a role, especially because, as I had mentioned earlier, it does feel like some sort of an evolution of consciousness. It's not just an experience of the divine or experience of absolute euphoria. It does feel like something in your consciousness is moving to a level that is on a higher transcendent scale than what you previously were. And even if you look at the aftermath of people having these experiences, like I feel like I'm more evolved spiritually, emotionally, physically than I previously was. Not that I get caught in this notion that I'm more evolved than the guy down the street that's not taking psychedelics. I think that's the wrong message, because along with the message of the evolution of consciousness, I did receive a message that psilocybin mushrooms, ayahuasca, DMT are not the only ways to achieve this. There are multitude of ways to get there. But one thing it's definitely showed me with interacting with people on like sort of the quote unquote outside is that we really are in a very deep state of sleep, it seems like, as a culture. We have a lot of work to do and a long, long way to go. But what's really inspiring to me is that there are a lot of people who I would have never ever thought that would be interested in these things who now are. And I think an important part of that is, as we had mentioned, it's really difficult to explain these things to people. And I've tried. There's definitely good and bad ways that we can go about using language to describe these experiences and what they do for us. But I think one of the most important ways that we can convince people that these things actually work is through our actions. If they can see the results for themselves, if they can see an absolute transformation in someone, and then they ask, "Oh, what is this a result of? What did you do? What work did you put in?" And you say, "Well, it started with a mushroom trip." And they say, "Huh, really? A mushroom trip? Oh, I've heard about that. I heard they're using that in some clinical trials." And with that, with the support of those clinical trials, with the support of the science now, because that's the religion of the time, people are really starting to catch on to what is going on here. And it feels interesting because it does feel like we're on some sort of pioneering journey, like we're the early adopters of this new renaissance. Um, but as you can see, it's no longer a world of early adopters.